Good evening. Welcome to CSB Academy Current Affairs Bulletin. Let us see the news which are important for today. Vice President Mr. Venkaiah Naidu urged all the political parties to arrive at a consensus to support political reservations for women. In India, there is a very less representation of women in the higher legislature, particularly in the parliament and state legislatures. The present Lok Sabha has the highest number of women, that is 78. That is only 14.4% of Lok Sabha. So the highest number which we have is as on date is 14.4%. That was the thing. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is very, very successful and had a great positive impact. And in a Facebook post, End Discrimination, Empower Women. In a Facebook post, Venkaiah Naidu said, End discrimination, empower women. In India, women constitutes almost 50% of the population, but unfortunately, they are not getting their fair share in politics. And Vice President recently released a report, Status of Sex Ratio at Birth in India. Status of sex ratio at birth. That means at birth, how many boys are taking birth, how many girls are taking birth, female children. And from 2001 to 2017, the pathetic situation of female child in India is same at the sex ratio at birth. That means there is no much difference, and women are being discriminated. That is, girl child is being discriminated at birth itself. In India, even today, we have female feticide and female infanticide. Female feticide and female infanticide. In India, we have Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, PCPNDT Act, particularly Preconception Pre-Diagnostic Test Act. In spite of all these laws, in spite of all these acts, still female infanticide and female feticide are going on in India. We need to stop and we need to empower women in India, particularly political empowerment. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said the same. And remember, the hand that rocks the cradle can become the hand that rules the world. The hand which can rock the cradle can become the hand which rules the world. Let's go with the other important news for today. The other important news is India is sending tri-services contingent. What do you mean by tri-services? Tri-services means Army, Navy, Air Force. Three services are called tri-services. India is sending tri-services contingent around 200 personnel to southern Russia for military exercises. So for joint military exercises, India is sending tri-services troops to Russia. So, the military exercise is between India, China, Pakistan. Along with several other countries, we also have China and Pakistan. And the exercise is named, the name of the exercise is Kavkaz 2020. Kavkaz. Kavkaz. Kavkaz 2020. And the member countries of Shanghai Cooperation Organization and many Central Asian countries are participating. SCO member countries and also various Central Asian countries are also participating in Kavkaz 2020. KAVKAZ in Kavkaz 2020. So this is the news. Next important news, India-Uzbekistan relations. Yesterday, that is on 24th August 2020, India-Uzbekistan held a National Coordination Committee meeting. India-Uzbekistan held a National Coordination Committee meeting, and they have discussed various topics. Unfortunately, the bilateral trade between India and Uzbekistan is just $300 million. The bilateral trade between India and Uzbekistan is just $300 million, and pharmaceuticals is a major thing in the trade. Pharmaceuticals is a major thing in the trade. And the joint military exercise between India and Uzbekistan is Dustlik, D-U-S-T-L-A-K. Dustlik is an joint military exercise between India and Uzbekistan. Whenever you read a joint military exercise, kindly note down Dustlik, D-U-S-T-L-I-K. Dustlik is an India-Uzbekistan military exercise conduct jointly to counter terrorism and other activities. So, and why Uzbekistan is very important for India? Why Uzbekistan is very important for India? This is the thing which you need to know. Uzbekistan is a very famous, significant producer of and exporter of natural gas and oil, and also uranium supplies. So, Uzbekistan is a significant exporter of natural gas and oil and also uranium supplies. After Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan is the second Central Asian country to supply uranium to India. After Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan is the second Central Asian country to supply uranium to India. In the same way, near Uzbekistan, you have to see the map of Uzbekistan. There's a sea called Aral Sea. There's a sea called Aral Sea, ARL, Aral Sea. So near that place, we have a lot of natural gas reserves. Natural gas reserves. Even that is very important point. That is very important point. Just remember this. India Uzbekistan relations. And in today's Hindu paper, there's a lead article. In today's Hindu paper, there's a lead article. India does need a fiscal council. India needs a fiscal council. What is this fiscal council? What's the need of the fiscal council? Very important article. Actually, I expect this question for next year coming mains. India immediately needs a proper independent fiscal council. India immediately needs a proper independent fiscal council. Do you agree? So, this is a question. See, the fiscal situation in India, even before COVID 19, is not that good. The fiscal situation in India, even before COVID 19, is not that good. And COVID 19 have worsened the situation. COVID 19 have worsened the situation. Now, the fiscal deficit of the center, generally, the government which will face elections within 2 3 years, or most of the governments are populistic. What do you mean by populist schemes? They wanted to woo the people by giving attractive schemes, by money transfers, by attractive schemes, which might not be good for the health of the economy, which might not be good for the health of the economy. So for that reason, we have an act called FRBM Act. FRBM Act. According to that act, fiscal deficit should be 3%, revenue deficit should be 0, and total public debt to GDP should be 60%. But unfortunately, even before COVID, our target was 3.5% fiscal deficit, but it crossed 3.8%. And now with COVID crisis, it went beyond. Nobody can even count. It might be 4.8 or 5%. We don't know. That is a condition. So to manage these fiscal issues, it is not the finance ministry or government of India. There should be independent fiscal council, which are non-political, which are not political, and it should be advised and managed by professionals. There should be professionals in that. So actually there are some guidelines about fiscal council by OECD. There's an institution, international institution called OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This OECD gives a guidelines about that. There should be autonomous independent institution. There should be autonomous independent institution, okay, like fiscal council, which will deal with fiscal matters. So suddenly government in a spur of populism might spend money for populist schemes, but we need to see the health of the economy also, the fiscal capacity of the economy also. If you have more and more fiscal slippages, the economy will tumble. As you all know, a politician thinks about next election, a statesman thinks about next generation. A politician thinks about next election. A statesman thinks about next generation. So this is the news. It's a very important news for you, for particularly for mains. Next important news: Turkey. Turkey discovers biggest ever natural gas reserve in Black Sea. Turkey discovers biggest ever natural gas reserve in Black Sea. Okay, Turkey is not, Turkey don't have proper natural gas reserves actually. Turkey imports a lot of gas and oil. Turkey purchases from the countries like Russia, Iran, Azerbaijan. Turkey purchases from the countries like Russia, Iran, Azerbaijan. Turkey's drilling ship Fatih discovered in Tuna 1 field, in a field near Black Sea called Tuna 1, TUNA, largest one, biggest natural gas reserve. which is also very near to Romania's gas reserve, which is also very nearer to Romania's gas reserve. So you are expected to locate Turkey, Romania. Turkey and Romania map you need to see. And if at all, this reserve can produce some oil and natural gas support to Turkey. Then Turkey can have independence, at least partially in the natural gas. Now Turkey is purchasing oil and natural gas, and you need to locate Turkey, you need to locate Black Sea, you need to locate Bulgaria and Romania. Romania. And Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey's president, said if Turkey can extract natural gas by 2023, Turkey can become independent, independent in natural gas. So 2023 is very important for Turkey. That is 100 years of Turkish state. 2023, Turkey is celebrating 100 years of formation of 100th anniversary of Turkish state. Okay. Next important news. This news I am talking from Hindu paper editorial page. Pakistan must fulfill its FATF obligations. You all know the most important area is FATF, Financial Action Task Force. FATF. See, already in FATF, Pakistan is in the grey list. Why? Pakistan is not doing enough to dismantle all terror activities, to disconnect with all terrorists. So already Pakistan is in the grey list, and Pakistan got lot of warnings from FATF also. Now, Pakistan few days back said it has Dawood Ibrahim in its territory, and after that it retracted from the statement and said Dawood Ibrahim is not with him, with Pakistan. And Pakistan is saying only lip service. It is doing only lip service to the FATF objectives. Only lip service means only time pass it is speaking. Pakistan is not taking any serious action. And Dawood Ibrahim is an underworld don and accused mastermind of Mumbai 1993 terror attacks, Mumbai blasts. And one more news, Greta Thunberg. I think you all know Greta Thunberg. She belongs to Sweden, and Fridays for Future movement, environmental activist, youngest environmental activist. She was also nominated for Nobel Peace Prize, Greta. Yesterday she tweeted, she gave a tweet supporting the postponement of NEET exams, JEE exams in India. She said, under COVID 19 stress, how can you expect the students writing JEE and NEET? I stand with them. She wrote a statement, I stand with them. Just don't read about this thing, but read about Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg is very important. Greta, Greta, Greta Thunberg. Next important news. This news I'm taking from Indian Express. I think I studied from Indian Express. India's strategic autonomy. There is an article about India's strategic autonomy. How India is going to deal with China in its territorial integrity and sovereignty, to maintain its territorial integrity and sovereignty. See, that the other side, in 1990s, India started diversifying its foreign policy, making more friends, and slowly India increased its power as a leader of the developing world. But now India is facing a stress from China. India started having more and more regional security groups entering into more and more support groups. But India is not compromising with its sovereignty and independence in the foreign policy making, independence in the decision making of the foreign policies. In 1990s, India urged for strategic autonomy as US dictated the terms in the world as a unipolar. US thought that the world have become unipolar, but India had many friends at that time. Now, if you see China's aggrandizement on India, India is still following the same policy of strategic autonomy in all the domains. India is not compromising with its sovereignty. India is not compromising with its proper decision making capacity, all those things. Okay. Next important news. What is Interpol Red Notice? What is Interpol Red Notice? See, recently, Interpol Red Notice is given against Nirav Modi's wife. You all know Nirav Modi is accused in Punjab National Bank scam, PNB scam, 13,500 crore scam. And what is Red Notice? Red Notice is not an arrest warrant. Remember, Red Notice is not at all an arrest warrant. Red Notice is not an arrest warrant. Interpol defines Red Notice as a request to law enforcement agencies worldwide to locate and provisionally arrest a person, to locate and provisionally arrest. And it is issued at the request of the member country. Individuals cannot request, only countries should request. And it is not an arrest warrant. It is not an arrest warrant. Then red notice allow 192 member countries in the Interpol to locate a person. Red notice allow 192 member countries in the Interpol to locate a person. See, there are various color notices. Kindly read in the internet. There are various color notices like red notice. Kindly read. That is very, very important. Okay. Next important topic in today's news is, see, every day from last 1 month, a topic is coming up: vaccine nationalism. Vaccine nationalism and COVAX facility. See, WHO and Gavi, WHO, Gavi, all these groups, they wanted to, whenever genuine vaccine comes into this world, whenever some country prepares a genuine vaccine, WHO immediately wanted to purchase that for the benefit of the poor nations, because poor nations cannot afford vaccines. So billions of vaccines, WHO wanted to do that. This is called COVAX facility. COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access Facility. What is COVAX? COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access Facility. UK, US, European Commission already signed advanced purchase agreements with the important pharmaceutical companies. So whenever vaccine comes, they immediately wanted to purchase. They immediately want to purchase because they wanted to have. Even America have paid around $10 billion as an advance. America have paid around $10 billion as an advance. And India should also take a lead in that, because Indians are also suffering with COVID-19. So India also needs us. Now the thing is, now the thing is, WHO warned about vaccine nationalism. What is vaccine nationalism? If a country prepares a vaccine, first it will prioritize its own citizens, its own domestic markets. It will dictate prices, and it can also apply for IPRs. If at all it will get patent right, it is for 20 years. So countries are trying to invoke compulsory licensing, because for this type of emergency healthcare, they can even ask for compulsory licensing. But how far compulsory licensing will work, we need to think it off. And the same thing has happened 10 years back when H1N1 disease have come. Australia asked pharmaceutical company not to sell vaccines unless all the doses for the Australian citizens are over. All the vaccination for the Australian citizens is over. So this type of vaccine nationalism, if it comes with COVID-19, it will become a distant dream in the poor countries, that people can afford a vaccine for COVID-19. Even the vaccine is invented for that. Even his vaccine is prepared for that. This is the issue. This is the issue. This is called vaccine nationalism that is coming up, that's going on. Okay. So these are the important current affairs for today. We'll meet tomorrow with other current affairs. Thank you.